sometimes in life, there's something already embedded in the person that they're meant to do. I lost my mom, and then a month or so later, my dad passed away. And then I came here, and my best friend, unfortunately, he passed away.
Oh.
And then last year, my 11-year-old daughter, her 5 and 6-year-old brother, they passed away. I'm sorry, they were taken away. Things just kept happening, and I had to ask the question. I kept saying, why are you doing this to me? Why are you making me do all this work?
Right.
Why I have to come back to back to back every year? I've had such a tragic thing that happened to me that nobody knows, and internally I have to process that. But I answer that question. He says, because there's no one else. Not for this part. You have to do this.
Chef Rush, first of all, I just want to say it is such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. It's truly an honor.
Honor's all mine. Pleasure being here.
Speaking of which, I actually want to start off by saying that you are in such high demand. I mean, you have had a meteoric rise from, just sharing so much of what you love up to now. And I want to tell you something that I actually heard you say that really meant a lot. And I want to hear you kind of speak more on it. But you were saying that it doesn't matter how many followers you have, because when people come up to you, you have kids come up to you, you have adults come up to you, you have people from all over, all walks of life, and they tell you that it's how you make them feel. It's what you share. It's how you change their life. That seems to mean more to you than any amount of followers. So tell me more about that.
I appreciate you saying that. I mean, you give me chill bumps by saying that, because it's kind of reiterates who I am, why I'm here, and what I do, and my meaning behind it. And I tell people all the time, I don't care how many followers you have. I don't care how big you are, or how big you think you are. I let every person knows that they're worth it, right? If you just look at the top of the top and not the people that make the people, then it's redundant. And so I'm always going to pay homage, and I always stop. I've taken thousands of pictures, whether it be in Olympia or Arnold, whatever, and people like, Chef, you can't do that. And every person is worth it. My team say no, and I say no. I want them here. They're taking a picture, especially with the kids.
Yeah.
It's all about the kids, so that's important to me. Especially now with social media, because social media is amazing, but also social media can be amazingly crazy and extremely toxic if it's in the wrong hands. It's like, responsibilities of power. So with the bullying and mental and all those different things, it's important that, being, I use the word role model, or a person that is not an influencer, but influential, which is the more important part about me. So, I appreciate you on that.
Yeah. Let's talk about what made you this person, because this doesn't happen by accident. There's no coincidence for you to become who you are. I think there is some wiring in us, right? From a young age. But from a young age, how were you raised? Take me back to that.
Boy, man, you hitting some chords. It is about who you are. I'm a product of my mother and my father. I'm also a product of a bunch of failures, successes, hate, racism, failures, the military, rainbows.
Tell me
of
a
colors.
failure that you're thinking of. You're thinking of something.
Failures, that's a very open question or a statement. A failure comes in so many different ways. You can think personally, internally, that I'm a failure. I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish, or why didn't I get this? Wasn't I, whether it be monetary success, relationships, why am I failing? Or even in my perspective, a lot of it came from while I was in the military. Even whether it be in the White House, in the military, or serving, or someone coming to you because they feel a certain way about you, and you thinking internally, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
Why am I going through this for absolutely no reason? I'm doing the best I'm doing. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. I checked off every check. I crossed every T. I dotted every I.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting this energy that is making me seem as though I'm not worth it.
That's so hard to believe. I feel like everybody just loves you. I think that's probably where you relate to people the most, because a lot of people feel that way, and nobody would ever imagine that you have ever been through that.
I've been through it more than people could possibly even imagine. I mean, the last time I cried was last night.
Wow.
Late last night. It was probably like, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was listening to a song, and it was Kanye, and I put it up on my stories. God did. And it just made me started realizing how great and how blessed and how fortunate I am. It doesn't mean that I'm crying tears of sadness. It was tears of like, wow, you've been through so much. My mother's not here. My dad's not here. I lost my daughter and my friends, my best friends. And I'm still doing the things that I'm doing. And I still have to deal with these people who look at me and like, you think you're special. You think you're better than everybody else. And I'm like, no. But in retrospect, I am. Yeah. Because I'm doing the work that you know that you can't do, you won't do, and you're afraid to do. Yeah. So take it how you want.
I do. I want to talk a little bit about your mom and your dad, because I know they're really special pieces to your journey. So your mom, more of a nurturer. Your dad, the one who instilled hard work. Yeah. So tell me about that dynamic growing up.
It was yin and yang. My dad believed from the South, boys, they don't cook. Yeah. Girls go to school, they do this, X, Y, and Z. And he was, as soon as I could walk, he put me to work. In Mississippi, farming, doing this stuff, even when and he would have us go to other people's farms or land, even when they had machines, and make us do it by hand.
That's why you crush tomatoes by hand now.
That's why I crush everything by hand. It doesn't matter. But what I learned about that was growing up in the projects and not having a lot. Yeah. We had each other. In Mississippi, it was a different type of energy, the hospitality that my mom gave, which she was just extremely loving. And she was a Gemini. Yeah. She was a Gemini. I say that because, if you're into that world, she was just a different type of person. Yeah. And she embedded that whole love part. I used to cook with her when I was younger. She got me into cooking, and she used to hide it from my dad. But because he just didn't believe in stuff like that.
Didn't want men to cook.
Yeah, I mean, he was just one of those Southern guys, a big, brawny, dark, black-skinned man who just did construction for 50 years and farmed and could just pick up a brick and crush it with his hands. He was just that guy. And at one point in time, I was to the point to where I was like, I don't have a childhood. Yeah. But I had an amazing childhood, but I substitute that childhood now for a life, a meaning, and worth that can go on. I'll be very transparent with you and say, if I passed away tomorrow, I am content on what I left behind. Wow. And if you would ask me that 5 years ago, I would, and you ask anyone that, like, what do I do? A lot of people, they want to put their names on buildings, say, this is what I left behind, or an airport, or this or that, and say, this is my legacy. I left this behind because I had all this money. Yeah. But what if you have nothing?
That's crazy. Well, we want you still here. Okay. You know what I was thinking? This is interesting. It's like, your mom was a huge part of you forming your love for cooking, but interestingly, both of your parents had something to do with it. Because I know you were out in the fields picking fruits and vegetables, and you connected to that idea of you work hard, you pick your vegetables, you take it to the kitchen, you cook it. So there was a little bit of both.
No, absolutely. It was funny because the first time when I started going, and my dad we'll be in the fields picking tomatoes or this and then we pull it out of the dirt, and it was just, with kids, it's dirty. It's out in the field with vegetables, and my dad would tell me, he would say, taste it. I'm like, it's dirty, I'm not eating this. And he was like, just taste it. I'm like, okay, I'll bite it. Yes. And I was like, But then fast forward a month later, I'm out there, he will be like, stop eating all the vegetables. Because it was so vibrant, so good. I fell in love with vegetables. I fell in love with the whole part of it. Just you're wiping it off and, tasting it. And it tastes so different then than it does now. So much sweeter, so much vibrant, so much juicier.
Wow.
All that part of it. Because now the world's changed. And me remembering that as a kid and saying that same palate profile, now is just saying, okay. Because when I want people to when they eat my food, I don't want them to say, click, it's a Michelin star, a 5-star, whatever.
Right.
I want people to say, man, I felt that.
Oh my gosh.
I felt that.
Wow, that's so crazy. I think that is so incredible, because I've talked to you about how you make some of your food, and I know you make for example, I love tomato sauce. And I said, how would you make tomato sauce? And you started off with crushing tomatoes with your bare hands. And I'm like, okay, you mean you don't get the tomato sauce out of a can? You thought I was crazy.
I did, actually.
But then when I find out more about your story, about how you connected to food, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, that almost spiritual connection to food that you have.
It's true. People forget what food is really meant for.
Yeah.
You think about it, because social media and going to all these fancy restaurants, which they do an amazing job. The chefs are crazy and amazing and all this. But food was meant for holistic medication, relationships, connections. Everything about food was meant for to make you well, make you better.
Yeah.
The whole cliche, you are what you eat, is a true statement.
Yeah.
So you think about what you put in your body is what your body's going to give you in retrospect, in return.
Yeah.
So you being a stellar athlete and looking the way you look, that food part of it is 90% of it. It's like you have to be tentative of it.
Yep.
Taking care of you and yourself is going to take care of you longevity.
Absolutely. I could not agree with that anymore. So going through from your childhood, then going into the military, what got you tuned into that?
Oh man, that was another crazy story. I had scholarships for football, track. I was scheduled for even I was very fast, being on the Olympics. My brother was in the Navy. My other brother was Merchant Marine. They had already been in, and had an art scholarship as well. And
an art scholarship, art, track, and football.
Yeah.
Wow.
And but back then, like I told you, my dad believed like girls go to school, boys go to work. Right. That wasn't anything bad with that. It wasn't a bad perspective. Right. Now, since then, I've gotten all my degrees. Yeah, of course. But
how he was raised too.
Of course, yeah. He actually he stopped when he was in elementary school to help his parents. So he never did any of that.
That's what he believed. Yeah.
He couldn't read, but he could count to 1 billion.
Right.
He was a dollar numbers guy. And I'm a numbers guy now.
Yeah.
Right. But I wanted to do something bigger and better and more. Yeah. And I didn't want any help. And that was the independency of mine. I didn't ask my brothers who were older about this, and I just did it. Yeah. I just talked to the Air Force, talked to the Marines, talked to the Army. And
quick question. Did you have any mentors, or was it just all within?
No, just all
you.
Within.
Wow.
Okay. I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have any, but what I did have was at a young age, a peace of mind where I was very logical.
Right.
And that was from my parents. My parents were older. My brothers and sister, the next one up was like 13, 14 years older.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So my spirit and energy came from my parents and my brothers and sister who, saw everything. So when I went into the military and was put into a leadership position, mind you, in Mississippi, it was only black and white. Yeah. Now I'm with the rainbow of colors and religions and everybody. Yeah. And now the drill sergeant says to me that you're in charge, Yeah. And I'm like, charge of what? Like all these people. Yeah. And honestly, it came natural to me as far as the leadership part of it, because unlike them, I was already getting up at, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning working. I was already been able to assess things. I wasn't spoiled. I didn't have the natural things of life, the commodities of it. So when I was talking to them, I could understand what their problems were, what their situations were, how they were, how I am, and kind of solve those things and kind of go on with it.
Yeah. Did you notice that people were naturally just attracted to learning from you and being guided by you?
Yeah, I didn't think about it then. Now I did as it went on.
Yeah, like retrospect.
Because it was just me doing what I do.
Yeah.
Kind of like even now, even as Chef Rush, I didn't think about people being attracted to me until, years later. It was like, okay, all right. I know that I have an audience. I know what I'm doing. I know what I want to do. I know what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
And, luckily monetary wasn't not even in my radar.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent so much of my own money just trying to go and speak in these people, speak in that place and go in this place,
Right.
even when people were millionaires. And here's the thing about people take advantage of you.
Yeah, they
no
do.
matter what you have or what you don't have, they can see you struggling and they'll do it. I'm not mad.
Yeah.
It's just a lesson learned. Right. But it also gave me a point to say, okay, I know what I'm not going to do for a person that if that person was me.
Right. I want to know, when you were in the military and you found your kind of niche in leadership and you started realizing that people were really guided by you, is there anything in particular that you can remember that you could trace back to, or is like a moment where you're like, wow, this is really what I'm cut out for?
I'll be honest with you. It was athleticism. I was always strong as an ox.
Yeah.
Since a young age, I could run, like a horse, which my nickname was Horse. And I could do all these things. And when I went into the military and found out that men in the military back then were just masculine.
Yeah.
It was all about how much you could lift and how much you could do and how much you could. It wasn't even a leadership part of it.
Yeah.
It was, who's the strongest, the biggest, the baddest. So
Right.
when they asked me, could I lead anybody, the first thing they said to me was, Private Rush, can you whoop anybody's ass out here?
So that was what they needed for you to be the leader.
And I looked around without even hesitation. Roger, drill sergeant, you're in charge. And that's all. That was.
You're like, I can.
The prerequisite for saying it. Just, can you do that? And I'm like, okay, yeah.
You're like, I can, and I can also lead. You're
But
like, that was the
like
first
that.
priority.
Right. But
That's
so when
funny.
I actually started going in and we started training, and then for PT, and you're the first person to lap everyone, and you're stronger, and you're doing more push-ups, and you're doing more sit-ups, and you're doing more everything, and then they're looking at you like, okay, follow, Private Rush, follow him. And it was like, okay, they want them to follow me. So that kind of evolved over the time. Like, okay, they're following me.
Yeah.
Now, without me, but unbeknownst to myself, was a leadership role.
Right.
So they're following me and they're taking notes from me and they're asking me questions now.
Yes.
But at the same time, I also had to realize that I need to put that back off to other people and not make them followers and make them also leaders.
Interesting.
Right? So
that's like 3D chess with leadership.
It is. It's tell people, I said, here's my job. I can lead you. I can walk beside you. I can push you. I can follow you. I can lift you.
Yeah.
And I can do all those things. But at the same time, I'm still the leader.
Yeah.
Just because I'm sitting behind you and pushing you to lead doesn't mean I'm not leading. I want you to lead yourself,
Right.
Whether it be a man or a woman. At that time, it didn't have any women. It was just men. And so that's how I got my leadership traits.
Right.
I want to empower other people like me. Only thing I ask, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it didn't, don't get the big head.
Right.
Don't think you did this by yourself, and don't think that no one else matters.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of times, sometimes in the military, in certain situations, that person that gets in charge think that they're the only ones. So you got to think about the other people.
You also get really creative in how to do that, because I know that for you, I've experienced your challenges, and I know that you don't just have people do as many push-ups as they can. Because I remember when you came in here and you said, we're going to do a push-up challenge, I thought, oh yeah, I got this. I'm like, no one can out push-up me. I can do more push-ups than anyone, and you had us do one push-up.
One push-up.
And I had never experienced anything like that before. I could not do the one push-up because of the way that you had us do it. And it wasn't about the push-ups. It was about, finding who has the most mental toughness. You're trying to humble us. You're trying to, get us to understand that this isn't about like who can do the most. It's about your own personal journey, your own personal strength over your mind. And I know you, in addition to that, you get really creative to figure out how to reach out to people. You do a lot of speaking, you do a lot of motivation, you do a lot of challenges like that. So tell me what goes into your ideas and how you craft up these unique.
Well, it's first off, it's the equal feel, right? Doing 2,202 push-ups, doing 200 push-ups, doing 100 push-ups, and then you think about a man, then you think about a woman. Right? Women can't necessarily do 200, 300 push-ups because men are just built that way. Right. But everybody can do one.
Yes.
Everybody can start with one. It's the first breath. It's the first step. Don't feel like, no one does it. Yeah. I was in Texas at one of the events, and for 3 hours, I did 150 people. Yeah. Right. Some of them were 2, 1. Every time we did the one push-up. Sometimes it was men, women, military, law enforcement, whatever, and no one did it. And I did everyone with them. Wow. And then they said, okay, now, Chef, it explains why you can do so many and how you can do it. Yeah. Being an endurance trainer, but at the same time, what you said, it was that mental part of it. I want you to think about yourself. Right. So when I started talking, ask you questions, right? Because I've had people cry. I've cried myself doing that one push because I'm like, think about that first challenge of thinking about if you're a mother or a father or you lost someone or a baby born, or think about the things you've gone through, think about the struggles you've had, think about your failures, think about your successes, and you're doing that and you're going, and it's just a slow tempo of just emotions. And then that part of it, that comes from inside, just you start going through memory lanes. All those things start popping in your head over and over as your body starts to lose itself, the struggles, you start shaking, and then you're going through this whole part of like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do this? Yeah. Right? Because you have to start with that one, and you have to struggle to get to that 100 or that 200 or that 300. And so that was brilliant. Me. I love it. And I tell people, because they always want to, let's go. And I'm like, let's just do this one. Just one. And if you really want to try me out after that, we can go and go.
I still think about that push-up. I mean, those types of things really leave such a lasting impression. It makes you really think about. It makes you think about a lot of things. I mean, I realized that I needed to be humbled. For me personally, right? And then I also realized that, there were some mental struggles. And as I entered my preparation for the Olympia, it did a lot for me, to be honest. And with you in motivational speaking, I know that one passion of yours, a huge passion of yours, I wouldn't say one, I would say probably the main, is you really advocate for mental health. And I know that you took a sigh, and I know there's a lot. It's a really heavy subject for you. You're really passionate about it. Tell me more about that.
I have PTSD. There's never a had. It's always a have. It's like I just said, I cried this morning. That's part of the PTSD, where it goes through those things because it never goes away. And sometimes it's just dormant, or you try to deal with it, or you try to go through it. But I'll be very transparent with it. The reason why I push out mental health so much is because me helping others is helping myself. Mm. When they say thank you and I say thank you back, I actually mean it, because you're helping me. Sometimes in life, you said it earlier, that there's something already embedded in the person that they're meant to do. Right. And I'll be very honest with you. I'm here for a reason. And people say, Chef, when do you sleep? I've been to 47 states this year. I'm getting on a plane in the morning. I've been to 6 countries. I'm a speaker internationally. I have 6 businesses. I do this. I do a lot of brand. I do the social media. I run everything myself. I do everything myself besides my little small team that I overwork them. I outwork them 100%, where they're like, Chef, we can't keep up. I lost my mom. I lost my dad when I started doing this. And my mom didn't tell me that she was dying. I remember I was in New York City with Gary Vee I was one of the 6 inspirational people he had for a show.
She didn't want you to know.
She didn't want me to know. And my sister calls and she tells me to come there. I come to Jackson and she lost like 100 pounds and she's bedridden. She couldn't talk and she could only just look at me with her eyes, and I cried like a baby. I cried. She passed. And then...
How long ago was that?
This was 3 years now.
Oh, wow.
3 years now.
Pretty fresh. Okay.
Yeah. And right after that, my dad passed. But right after she passed, it was like it was my first year. She passed on the first year anniversary of me being Chef Rush. The very first year. And then she was buried on her birthday.
But she got to see you.
She got to see me.
Do what you love to do.
She, in infancy, she just said, "You're doing the Lord's work." That's my sister and them. They said that's why she didn't tell you.
Oh, you give me chills.
All right. And so I say that because certain people are put on this earth to do certain things. Mm-hmm. They have a calling, and sometimes it's one of them. So I say this, and I'll make it really quick and fast, is that, I lost my mom, and then a month or so later, my dad passed away. And then I came here, and my best friend, unfortunately, he passed away from the same mental. And then last year, my 11-year-old daughter, her 5 and 6-year-old brother, they passed away. I'm sorry, they were taken away by her stepfather, who took away himself and took away another individual.
Yeah.
And he was military. He had some stuff that was going on as well.
Right. PTSD.
And then right after that, I started doing a campaign for USA, which was Face to Fight for suicide awareness, which unbeknownst to them, because I was going and I was leaving myself, they called unbeknownst to them, and nothing had happened. So that happened, and I spoke everywhere from the White House to Chamber of Congress to National Press Club to here, and I speak about it for the Ernst & Young, the FBI, military, kids, here, this place, that place. And then things just kept happening, and I had to ask the question. I kept saying, why are you doing this to me? Why are you making me do all this work? Right. Why I have to come back to back to back every year? I've had such a tragic thing that happened to me that nobody knows, and internally I have to process that. But I answer that question. He says, because there's no one else. Not for this part. You have to do this.
Oh my God, I have chills right now.
And so I cried and I cry, and I just say, God makes no mistakes. You may not agree with them. You may not know. I mean, and believe me, to each his own. I'm a faith-based person. I'm not going to change that on anything on your part. Right? Yeah. And I don't downplay anything. Right. Whoever your person is, I don't judge. Only thing I know is that I'm here for a reason. What I do, trust me, I love to have fun. But here's my last thing. After that happened with my daughter, I was completely lost. I was on social media always, and I had done so many videos with other people, and I said to myself, I need to make a difference. Right. I need to know how to get more kids on my circle. I need to know what I'm going to do, because my daughter, her 5 and 6-year-old brothers, and I was just lost, and I'll be honest with you. And so I probably had about maybe 400,000 followers on all of my social media. Right. And I looked and I thought and I prayed on it. And and then I attacked everything at once. And within a month, that 400,000 went to 3 million, and then 4 million, and 5 million, 6 million, 7 million. And it was so fast and so hard, not like on every social media part. Right. And it just went over and over. And all I heard was my daughter and her brother saying, "Way to go, Dad."
Oh my gosh.
And so it was
a lot.
Oh my gosh. It was a lot.
Wow.
It was a lot. So now every time I go into airports, I go to places, I get these little kids, 6 years old, 8 years old, coming up and their moms and their dads said, thank you for being that person. And that's the most important part about me. That's the most important thing that I could ever ask for, to see that,
Yeah. I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
So first, it's more like a statement than a question, but I feel like that you helping other people is definitely a coping mechanism for you, and a good one, right?
Hey, okay, most definitely, it's a coping.
And then the other burning question that I have is, you went from 400,000 across all platforms, and then you said, I need to make a change. So what exactly was it that you injected into your social media platforms that made everything? What was it that you were changed up?
So the thing about me is that people don't know cooking was a hobby of mine. I'm not. I've always done.
It was just a hobby.
It was just a hobby of mine.
Okay, wow.
Cooking was never the thing. It was because of my mother and my father. Because of my mother mostly, but cooking was something that was a hobby that I just became extremely blessed and very good at. It helped me a lot. I was in 9/11 when the plane hit. And I kind of deep dive. It's a coping skill for me. But when...
What did you say about 9/11 when the plane hit?
I was there in the Pentagon. So that's actually when I first developed the part of the PTSD.
Because you said that so fast.
Yeah.
Maybe, okay, well, we can talk about that later. Continue.
So that happened, and that changed everything about everything. Wow. Right? So that was when I became a ticking time bomb. That's a whole nother story, though, right?
Okay, we're going to go back to that. Tell me more about your mom.
But what changed was that, so I'm also a consultant. Like I said, I do consultancy, and I have a few degrees that people don't know about. And I do forces. I'm a fighter. I do all these things.
Degrees are?
Yeah. PMP, state culinary, hotel restaurant, PhD. It's just I got a few things.
You got a few things.
But I'm also, my main thing I am a logistician. I'm a strategist.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
I'm a strategist. So everything I think about, I have to think about it.
Yeah.
I don't just dive into something. That's why I tell about people about emotions. Stop diving into shit.
Right.
Just stop for a second, look and think about it, assessment, and then you attack. When you attack, you do a 360 going all the way in at one time, and you make it so hard, so fierce, and so whatever it's going to be. And
I like that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like warfare, right? You think about that as in life as well. How will you scale up? How do you tack something? I tell people when doing this, you got to look at it. So with me, I'm just like, okay, I have so many levels to me as far as I'm a master ice carver. I do pastries, I do chocolate, I do this, I do that, I do this. I can, I'm an artist. And so I'm like, how am I going to get this? Cooking is funny. And plus I have some of the guys that I do funny stuff with. So I need to make a persona. Right?
You're I have a unique set of skills. I have a unique set of skills.
I'll find you. So in this one, I wanted to do something that was going to get people's attention. So that's when I, the angry chef, the aggressive chef.
Yes.
Right? And I had my cookery from Iraq and Afghanistan that has a bunch of meaning that people don't know, that I slam into the thing.
Yeah.
So cause and effect is kind of like a caption.
Yeah.
You want to get people's attention right away.
Yeah.
And you have that quick 2 seconds to get their attention.
Yeah.
If you don't get attention in that 2 seconds, it's a done deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So that's when
a lot of people are copying you on that now, by the way.
They're copying me.
They're copying you.
Well, no, it's a free dime.
It's a free dime.
Telling people get paid. I get paid a lot of money just to tell people this because they don't understand this.
Yeah.
They think egotistical. I say, even if I'm the best sugar sculptor in the world, which I've had TV, I said, I hate it. Sugar is boring to me, right? I need to know something more. Let me do this. Let me do that, because even though it's going to look great, now, if you think about my chocolate, like doing a chocolatier, that's great, but I can only put it into a few seconds, like some of the guys do on social media. But with that part of it is that I scaled up, I pushed everything out, and I use each part of social media as a different platform.
Right.
Like my most successful social media is LinkedIn.
LinkedIn? Really?
I am a superhero.
Wow.
And it's my most successful one. It gets me everything I need because it's the percentage of the 1% of people that people don't go to because they don't know how to talk to them. They don't know how to act to them. They don't know how to present to them. And they don't know how to look to them because it's too hard. You talk about CEOs, owners, businesses, this, so forth, that those people's like, okay, hey, can I do a post for you? That's nothing. I don't want to do a post for you. I want to be part of I want to be part of your brand. I want to be part of your organization. I want to be an asset.
Yes.
Right. So
that's how I feel too.
Yeah. You know, I mean, why I tell people, I was like, why do little things? We can do stuff. It's about longevity. Right. It's also putting a footprint in. So that's why I told you I was being a speaker. I mean, I've spoken to Ernest & Young, Charles Schwab, Pentagon Fed, this person, that person, everybody that somebody is building your resume that's going to go where they're going to know you from that and not from, oh, you got to do that little stupid, little silly video. Well, right. Or you can use that as a caveat and say, how did I get 500 million views in 1 month off of this video with the demographics of it being the ages of 10 to 21?
Right?
Think about it.
Wow. That's crazy. You make a really big impact in the young crowd. They love you.
And I love them.
That's so cool.
As I love them. You know, so they're worth it, and they don't have a lot. So I always tell people, you know, you are a role model. I don't care if you like it or not. If you're taking their money or they're taking their time, if you're taking anything from them, their parents, make sure that you push it out. Yeah. You know, make sure it's very realistic. But this time, a lot of people just want to sell stuff, and unfortunately, some of it's great, and some of it's just get it. I get it. Trust me, I get it. Right. But make sure it's right.
Right. Yeah, you're not so much about like how many views and likes and how much, you know, how many sales you're making. You are, and it is really clear when I see your content that you really are focused on how you make people feel. You're focused on how you're connecting to people. It's a lost art, really.
It is lost art. I tell people I don't make any money off of social media.
Yeah.
I don't make, all my friends, we get hundreds of millions, billions and billions of views. I don't care about that part of it, right? Eventually, it's going to scale to something else, but right now, you have to make a foundation what's going to, you know, feel this right here, and then go forward. But at the same time, when I do other things, I realize, as I told you earlier, when I was paying for everything, I shouldn't have to. I can't pay for everything that everybody else wants. I can't come here to make you successful and not make myself successful.
Absolutely.
So it has to be, I tell people in life, you got givers and takers. I say, you got to have givers and givers. If you have givers and givers, you never go wrong, you never go broke, you never go hungry, and most importantly, you never have to watch your back. Right.
Yeah, every relationship should be mutually beneficial.
Of course.
You know, like you can't have a one-sided relationship.
Yeah.
You know,
tell LA that.
Okay, I am like dying to know something. Okay, you do a lot of motivational speaking. You talk in front of people all the time, but I know that you're human. Okay, and so you're very human. So has anything ever scared you, terrified you, made you nervous, given you anxiety heading into it? Because you do a lot of big time speaking events.
I do a lot of big time speaking events. I mean, I've spoken for a lot of the 1%ers, and I do very well in that speaking arena. But my thing is that I don't want to PowerPoint them to death, and I don't want to give them everything. I'm giving everything else. So the one thing I would do when I speak is, you have categories of speakers. Right? Hey, he's a motivational, he's a leadership guy, or he's this, that. I am that guy who has about, 15 or 20 layers. So I can talk to kids, I can talk to military, I can talk to leadership, transition, this, so forth. And with that, being that when people see your worth and value, those people at the top, they start looking at you. They start reaching out to you. I've got people who I've never thought in a million years would come to me and say, Chef, we want you to come and speak. And these guys are the ones that control everything, right? So they have everything you possibly do, but we need you to talk. And I'm like, can I be myself?
Right.
Well, take that back. I'm going to be myself.
You just tell them.
I'm going to tell them. I'm like, are they in shape? And you know what I make them do? That push up. And
you make them do the push up.
They will be like,
you make everyone do that push up, don't you?
They're like, Chef, they're not going to do that. I'm like, they're going to do it. you know, and what happens is when they do it, being the top of the top, all their subordinates, all those employees, all those people that follow them, they follow suit.
Right.
Now they're normalized as human. The nextly is that their employees,
Yeah.
they look at them and say, I want to work harder for these guys.
Yeah.
They did something I never thought they would do. Right. So on that perspective of is being able to speak, but also at the same time, I accommodate to them,
Yeah.
but I also accommodate them to a message that I want to deliver, whether it be for that mental wellness, whether it be for that caring, whether it be
Yeah.
for the environment, you know, however it may be.
Yeah. So have you ever gotten nervous?
You know what? No.
Really?
I said this, and I say this to you, is that, you know, I do TV also.
Yes.
So my show now that, you know, Kitchen Commando is the #1 show still on Tubi out of 35,000 shows.
Yeah.
And people are like, Chef, do you act? No, I've never acted before.
Yeah.
I just did it. Even when they said, you're going to be a competitor, I said, no, I'm
Yeah.
either a host or I'm nothing.
Wow.
They're like, well, you never done anything. I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And even though I know that I've never done it or how it would happen, I still said that's what I want to do.
Wow.
So when they put me in front, I didn't have a choice.
You
All
really
these
are meant
cameras
to do
around me.
this.
I'm sorry?
You really are meant to do this.
It's like I have cameras everywhere, people everywhere. Nobody's there but me and them. Wow. You know, and then when I got to speak, which people are like, oh my God, I'll get butterflies, get nervous. I was like, man,
Right.
you got one choice. You got one chance. When you get out there and God gives you an opportunity to say, you either speak or you're going to fail.
Yeah.
Right? What are you going to do? You got to do this for not only you, your family, for your longevity,
Yep.
however it's going to be. So you get there and you go and you speak.
Yep.
Now, it was one time you asked me, have I ever, me being human? I'm extremely human.
Okay. Tell me about the one time.
The one time, you know, this is funny. This is me in the world of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Right? Bodybuilding and this and that and just people.
Right.
I'm a person that I get no jealous of no man.
Right.
No man, no one's gonna make me look
I
at
can
them.
see that. I can see that.
I don't, you know, people say, Chef, what do you do when you go and you see a guy bigger than me? I said, what do you mean?
Who's bigger than you?
And they said, bigger, like muscular, this. They're like, bigger than me. What are you talking about? They're like bigger. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? I said, okay, here's the deal. I don't care if they're 10 feet tall
Yeah.
and 1,000 pounds. I'm still looking down at them.
Yeah.
Are we looking eye to eye? There's no one bigger. Never think that there's a person bigger than you, because if you do, someone's always going to be bigger than you in your life.
I'm 5 feet tall.
And you're 500 feet tall, and I'm still looking up to you, and I appreciate that, right? And, you know,
That's funny.
it's funny because we get so caught up in that whole persona, how a person looks or how they yell, how their body and this and
Yeah.
that, whatever, what they have, what they're wearing.
Yeah.
I wear the
We
same
do.
thing every day. My same sweats, my same shirt.
Yeah.
I do the whole thing of it. And matter of fact, I was just in a hotel the other day where I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on, and I did this purposely. And they gave me two queen beds, and the guy goes to the back and he talks to the manager. He said, I'll be back.
Yeah.
And the manager came back and he said, oh, okay, you got these 2 queen beds. And he's looking at me because he knows who I am.
Yeah.
But the manager said, don't upgrade them. And I was like, okay. I said, 2 questions for you. Where's the gym and who's the manager? And the manager was like, oh, you mean the general manager? I said, no, the manager on the hand. She's like, oh, I am. I said, what's your name? She said, oh, I'm so-and-so. I was like, nice to meet you, so-and-so. Right? Left?
Yeah.
Right? Did my little whole part of it. And then the general manager, he said, Chef, we should have did better. We should have did better. I said, it's not about that.
Yeah.
I said, this is my life also. I said,
Yeah.
I don't even care, but it was the principle behind it.
Yeah.
Don't ever judge a book by its cover.
Right.
Don't look at me and think that I'm not worth it when I've
Right.
spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in your hotel or establishment
Right.
and I picked you up. But you look at me because I'm not wearing this suit and everything like everyone else. You think I'm not worth it to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So when other people be like, I'm not going to say anything. No, I'm going to say something to you. I'm going to let you know your mishaps and your defaults.
Right.
Me as who I am, because
Yeah.
social media is so powerful right now. I can get on this thing and say, this place sucks.
Yeah.
Right? And I said, I'm not going to do that to you. I just want you to let your employees know to be better.
Wow.
Simple. You know?
Well, I'm going to tell you 2 things. Number one, your body is is priceless. I mean, someone could be wearing the most expensive suit, and when you have a body like that, it doesn't really matter what you put on it. But that aside, I love the way that you dress. I think that you look super nice. But also, I do think it's interesting where we are right now in society, where we really do, I think as a whole, judge each other for what is being presented. There's this social currency. People, that wasn't a part of my generation growing up. It was so weird. There's such a different set of kind of rules that everybody lived by.
True.
True. And then we entered this like new era where there is such a weight placed on social currency and what people have. But what I want to say about that that's interesting is you may not be wearing the like super expensive suit because your money is in the bank. And And I just think it's so funny because when I see people with really nice purses and really nice clothes, I don't necessarily think that they're really smart with their money.
So it's funny because I am a finance guy.
Yeah.
I told you earlier, I'm the money's guy. I'm the person that shows people how to make money, scale money, save money, and where to distribute money.
Right.
I tell all my guys, even in the military, that's one of my superpowers was when they'll be in there and they'll be absolutely broke. And I would go through the whole list of money and tell them where to put it, how to put it, what to do with it. And they come back to me years later and show me that they've got so much more than what they would possibly even think they could have.
Right.
And so it feels good to know that if I want to go out and get anything I want, I can do that.
Yeah.
I don't have to have a part where it's that. Now, mind you, I'm not gonna lie to you. Hell, these shoes cost $1,000, but they're comfortable. I can get that. Yeah. Right. But at the same time is that I can wear these ones that cost $20 and I'm okay with that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter on that part of it. The part of it is that what am I going to do and how am I going to do it? It's about having a stable future and a life where you can scale. I tell people all the time is the money that you're investing in other stuff, you could be investing yourself into your business. Right. So take about e-commerce and put it here, put it there, do this with it, how to do it. I could go on and on about this.
Well, I think the current state of affairs was a perfect segue into that. But I also think it really shows the kind of person that you are, because you walk the talk, you practice what you preach, and you really believe in what you do. So I think you are, and you have a lot of integrity. So you're representing what you really believe, right?
We do, as you do.
I think that it takes one to know one.
DJ, I like that.
But along those lines, I do, I recognize so many great qualities in you, and there is, like I said, there's a reason why you're doing all the things that you're doing. Tell me a little bit more about the things that you are doing right now. Ooh. Where do you start, right?
All I could say is that I never would ever in a million years think that I could do the things I'm doing right now. I've had, like I said, the TV shows with Gordon Ramsay, with Disney, I've done 4 shows and Netflix shows in Korea this year. One just came out like a couple of days ago. Another one's coming out for Halloween. I consult for about 5 or 6 big number ones. I have assets in about 7 or 8 businesses. Do a lot of other deals. I'm with Muscle Tech, which they're my only brand that I actually in the sports and fitness industry decided to go with because of their hearts and because of me knowing them. And of course, I love you guys here at WOLFpak. That's why I'm here right now.
Right.
So that's important to me. So anything that I have and I deal with, they have to have meaning to me. They have to have something that I can look at and say, okay, this has merits that people need to know. And I've done a lot of different things with a lot of different people. I've been spokesperson for the Cancer Society. I've done, USA for Face to Fight. I'm getting ready to do Priceline with MWR. I've done USO with Bob Evans. I've done this. All of them have that thing where like, okay, we need Chef to come and talk on GMA or go here and talk about it because everybody knows him as that person who's going to talk about something. I just did Salvation Army, which I'm getting ready to do again coming up in December, which was absolutely amazing because it has heart to it. It has
Yeah.
some meaning to it that goes behind it. So if I told you everything I'm doing, I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm just doing it. And plus, I still
Right.
speak and I still do a lot of things for the kids. And I have a lot of great projects coming up. One of them is, which I'm excited about, doing a line for kids with 3D printing food.
With what?
3D printing food.
Ooh.
Yeah.
3D printing
Yeah, it's going to be
food.
amazing. It's going to be amazing.
What?
Looking at things that kids need and deficiency basis of it. And I met a gentleman who's absolutely amazing. Him and his partner went there to the facility. And
That's high-tech stuff.
it's more than high tech. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. They're doing some really big things. So get involved with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're going to kick childhood hunger.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's food insecurities. I received the ACOF Award for homelessness here in LA a few months ago, and I just got the Veterans Magazine
Right.
like a couple weeks ago, and
Right.
then Custom Magazine. Just I don't know. I just
Right.
you know I've gotten the key to the city. I've got acclamations from California
Yeah.
for suicide awareness, mental health, and everything's in a box.
Yeah.
Nothing's put out.
Yeah.
Not because I'm not proud of it. It's because I still got so much work to do.
Yeah.
And he's putting so many things in my corner so fast that it just stays there.
Right.
And so when I put it on top of it, on top and on top and on top, it
It's a
just
lot.
grows and grows and grows.
Yeah. Going back to your childhood, I was just thinking, one thing I do know that probably sits in your heart and stays with you is I know your mom was really nurturing, and I heard that she would take in homeless people and have them over for dinner.
Yeah.
Tell me about that and what you thought when she did that, when you were just a kid.
Yeah, it was scary.
It was
I mean,
scary.
no other word. I mean, I was in projects. We barely had food ourselves.
Right.
But, to see someone, and we weren't introduced like that. And there wasn't like a lot of homeless people that was there at the time.
Right.
But, you would see people going through who had the same clothes on, who didn't look the same, dirty, and it's like hard. So my mom used to come over, and I had my younger sister, and have them at the table and feed them, let them sit there. And we're looking behind the couch like, what is she doing? Why is this person here in our house eating our food that we don't have a lot of? And, the very first time that she did it, she explained, and she brought me and my sister over, and she said, everyone needs someone, and you just need to do the right thing regardless of the fact. No matter if you have it or you don't have it, if it's the right thing to do, just do it. So like I said, she really had a really huge heart, where that's what I got that part from.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't the same way. He was more of a bam, 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 much more aggressive. So I take that balance where I'm the nicest guy in the world.
But he
and
let
say,
these people in his home anyway.
Huh?
He let them in his home anyway.
No, he would be okay with that part of it. But he was also the very business type of aggressive type of guy.
Right.
So that's I take more so off my mom, where it's like, oh, Chef, he's such a gentle giant, and I'm like, but I'll bite your head off also. I still got my dad in me.
You have a little bit of both.
I have a little bit of both. I'd rather my mom
a good
come out because
combo.
she's more welcoming.
Right.
Because you know it. If you're
Yeah.
a big person and people they get intimidated.
Yeah.
So you want to bring them that energy for them and make them just kind of like relax and be subtle. So that's why I do the fun videos. That's why I got so many kids. They love to be scared of me, but they just
Yeah.
come up to me and hug me.
You're very socially intelligent. You play, like I said, social 3D chess a lot. It sounds like, to be a leader, to figure out how to navigate the energy that comes to you. Because, like you said, you meet somebody and their first impression of you is that you are this overwhelming, very you have a very big presence about you, and you're thinking, your first thought is, and I can relate to this too, to be honest, your first thought is how am I making people feel in my presence?
True.
And not a lot of people think like that. Most people are more concerned about what's happening to them. And you enter a room and you're like, what is the energy? Let me gauge it. How do I make people comfortable?
You're 100% right. So here's the deal, right? People say, I don't judge anyone.
Right.
That's a lie. Everyone judges.
You nailed it. I say that all the time.
Everyone judges.
I say that all the time.
It's embedded in you from when you were born.
But
whether it's just a human nature. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a negative way where you're like, oh, this person is this.
No.
But you think your mind is going to say it before you even open your mouth or whatever.
Right.
You look at a person, whether it be their color, whether it be their uniform, whether it be their size, whether it be, it doesn't matter. You're going to look at someone, you're going to say something. And sometimes your mind can get away from you.
Right.
So I'm very attentive when a person looks at me, and I know because I can look in their eyes and they can see, they'll look me up and down or whatever. And a lot of times I'll wear things out of character because I want a person to judge me.
Right.
I want you to judge me to know your true reaction of me. I want you to see me
I like that.
and know if you really are who you say you are.
Right.
And if you can deal with that type of person and whatnot. Right. And so, it's funny because
that's good. You're testing them too.
I do. I want to know if I want to know if I want to work with you or not.
You're good.
I don't care who you are, how you are. I want to know if I can work with you or not. I want to know if I can work with you, if you care about your people, and how we're going to go together.
I love it.
It's just simple. The one thing I can say is that I'll knock on wood, right, is that since I've started this, everything I've ever done, every deal, every speaking, every TV show, anything, every business deal, everything, I've never had to pick up the phone. Not even once. Not an email, not a phone call, not even an ask on social media. Nothing. So that will tell you who you are and what people think of you. If you never have to go out saying, hey, can so-and-so do this? Can he do this? Or can I do this? Whatever. Even my team I've ever had that I fired all of them, from A3 to all of the guys, every deal I brought to them. And I said to them, hey, here's the deal. If I keep bringing you these deals and you're not doing anything, I'm firing you.
Yeah.
Oh, chef, don't fire us. Don't fire us. I'm like, I'm telling you, right? 2 months, 3 months. Guys, bye.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Yes, bye. I don't need you.
Yeah.
You don't understand. My job is to know everything about something and something about everything. I know how to run in, upside. So I tell people, be very smart and diligent and be inside your business. Don't let someone control your whole entire life without you knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
My job in life is to know something about everything, because sometimes the people with the best heart can also have the not so best intentions.
Right. That's true. I can tell you're thinking about some specific.
Oh, I have many.
Some specific.
many.
You don't have to, but is there anyone that you could talk about?
My publishers. I mean, they were terrible. I fired them. I tell people, even when I wrote my first book, my literary agent, absolutely terrible. And I told him, I'm the type of person is that I'm not going to hold my tongue.
So tell me what was terrible.
They just wanted money. They didn't do anything right.
They didn't do anything. They just wanted to collect money.
They just wanted to collect money. They wanted to collect money, and it's all about money.
Yeah.
And I was like, geez. And even my Luberman, my manager fired him, fired their team.
Yeah.
Fired my agency, fired everyone. And not saying that, but the thing is that I'm going to give you an opportunity. I'm not going to hold it. I'm not going to judge you off of what the last person did.
Right.
I'm going to judge you off for your actions and what you do.
Well, but you also have really good discernment, and you know exactly what you want.
Of course.
You have a level of expectation. You have a level of excellence, and you know exactly what you're looking for. And if you're not getting that, then you are not going to waste your time.
And you're right about that. So what I found out in LA is that the reason why they do that is because 99% of the people here in LA, they just say okay.
Yeah.
They say okay, they don't know, and they control. And there's hundreds of millions of dollars a year that is taken from talents that they don't know about. The first thing I do when someone puts money in my bank account, I said, I don't care about the money. Show me the invoice.
Yeah.
I want a detail. And they're like, what? Give me the invoice.
Yeah.
I want it now.
Yeah,
I want you to tell me where the money went, how it went, what the percentages are, what's this, whatever.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I just did that with one of my last ones, and it was about $20,000 missing.
Wow.
And I was like,
yeah,
this is your only warning. Don't do it again.
Right. They thought you wouldn't notice.
If I didn't check, that's what it is.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The fact that you do all of this yourself You're checking your accounts. You run your businesses. They're trying to catch you slipping. They figured
it won't happen.
that you have like all these businesses, you have all these things going on. They're like, we're going to catch him slipping.
No, it won't happen.
Nobody catches Chef Rush slipping.
Damn it.
Do you get any sleep? That's what I want to know.
That's been an on time thing. People been talking. So I'll be honest with you.
That's a no.
I don't get any sleep, but here's what happened.
Neither do I.
I didn't know. I assumed that everybody could be the same.
Yeah.
I didn't know that how many people needed 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep a day.
I know, it's crazy.
I did not understand that.
I don't either.
When that first happened, I did the men's health.
Sleeping is a waste of time.
It is. I mean, I'm living off the East Coast, West Coast, and also international.
Yeah.
So when I'm like, hey, I'm sleeping, if I'm sleeping 3 or 4 hours a day, and people are like, that's not possible. You can't do that. You can't do it.
Right.
How can you have muscle mass and this and this and what about? I'm like, guys, it's not that serious. I don't know. It's just who I've been since I've been a kid.
Right.
I've had this lifestyle my whole entire life, so it's nothing new to me.
Yeah.
Right? It's nothing new. But then when I did the Men's Health magazine, the guy who did it was from another country, and it was a whole big thing, and he started saying stuff on it, and it went away. And trust me, here's what I was when I first started my social media. I didn't know people were the way they were or are.
Right.
Very toxic.
Yeah.
And they don't like people that they think are better than them. Yeah. Right? Which I don't think I'm better than anyone. And then also the monetary value that other people, how many things I've had where people made money off of me. And I'll be honest with you, because it was I had the thing with Greg Doucette that came out. And me and Greg that's when I was really human, because I sent him a bunch of emails. I said, okay, I didn't know who this guy was. He started putting stuff and saying false stuff and making it seem like I was doing this and doing that. And then what happened was...
He's a shit disturber.
Huh?
He's a shit disturber.
Yeah. And then what happened, but he was making a lot of money off it. I didn't know that. Well, then what happened was whoever it was started putting bots, and they started using threats and racism. A lot of it. Like a lot of
on you?
Yes. And then they were like, I'm going to kill your kids. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I sent him a message. And I was like, okay, you made your money. I'm telling you, you don't know who I am. I said, but if one person comes to me, that's it.
Right.
That's it. I'm not going to have a conversation. That's it. You don't know who I am. Mind you, that went on, and then it got the part like, oh, he only sleeps this, and he was like, oh, he eats 10,000 calories, 10,000 grams of protein. And I was like, okay, I didn't care, but then, and now mind you, I just saw him at the Fit Expo, and we talked. He came up to me at Olympia, and like, oh, chef, we took pictures together. I'm not that guy or whatever. I get it. We do things for a reason. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. I don't care. Right? I said, but at the same time, you got to think about it, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm that person that's out here helping, hundreds of thousands of kids, and you want to get people that are just negative from different countries and putting bots and saying racist stuff and saying this and saying that to try to maximize and get the most money out of it, that's fine also. So at that point, that was one of those points where I'm like, I had to actually calm down. Yeah. I actually stopped social media on my YouTube, because they actually had to change it because of that. What? They actually changed it because it became so bad. Serious? Yeah, it was really bad. So my team, people got on it. So that's when they got rid of the dislike button. Wow. Right? They were doing a dislike.
You helped to start that.
Because it was really, because they did.
Bad. I remember when they got rid of that dislike button.
It was really bad. I mean, it was just racism, I had thousands of hate comments. Right. Even now, here's how crazy it is. Why do
they ever have the dislike button? It's like, if you don't like it, then just don't do anything.
But it's funny, because some of my guys, and then here's the influence of how people, and a lot of people didn't know what bots were. I didn't know what bots were.
Neither did I.
But if you got 10,000 bots or 1,000 bots saying this guy's a mean guy, and then one of my friends here in LA said, what's going on? Right. My friend called me, like, Chef Rush, he's a bad guy. Yeah. And he was like,
the power of suggestion.
He's a bad guy. He's like, you don't know who Chef is? Chef's the greatest guy, you know? He was like, no, he's a bad guy. This guy said this. And I was like, okay, I see what I got to do, right? Yeah. I see what I got to do. But at the same time, it's like, I have to
So
be
unfair.
more. I mean, life is unfair. But
Yeah,
you know,
but-
you what can you do? What can you say?
Well, you spent so much of your heart and soul building your reputation. And then this tainted kind of thing, it's just like this cloud like hanging over. Ugh.
You
God,
know,
it
and
sucks.
that was the one time I say is I should have at that point in time dug into knowing more.
Yeah.
I didn't know people were like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know about.
You couldn't comprehend that.
I couldn't comprehend that. I don't get jealous of other men. I don't try to use other people to get my views. I don't use this. I don't know that world. I don't know that world. So
Right.
I didn't put that connection together until I realized like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Let me get back to work.
Yeah.
So I just went back to work doing my thing. So because like I said, I didn't make any money off of social media.
Right.
I still don't.
Right.
So it was just going back doing my work, and that kind of went through. And I still get it now, like the residual of it. And I kind of laugh at it. Even I laugh at him when I see him. You know, he's like, hey, you know, blah blah. And I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, if I would have saw you then,
Yeah.
wouldn't have been a nice situation. I'm human. And I tell people, I am human.
You
I
are.
am not anyone that's different than anyone else. I bleed. I get angry, but I also say I also have to control my emotions. Emotions can save lives, end lives. It can cause things and do things that you can never change or take back. So me having to be level-headed about the emotional part of it is me being that tangible and free thinker, saying, let me stop for a second
Yeah.
and analyze this
Yeah.
before anything happens.
I feel like I relate a lot to you because, first of all, one thing that I picked up on from everything that you just said is you're so focused on what you have going on. You're focused on, you know, trying to make an impact on people. You're trying to squeeze every ounce of yourself out to provide and do, and you're so focused on that. You literally, and we only have so much space in our head and it has to be filled with something, right? Your space is completely filled up with that, right? You don't have enough space left over to be envious of somebody or to think about somebody else or try to bring someone else down. You just don't even have the bandwidth for it.
No.
Which is interesting because I'm of the opinion that if people are doing that, that's where there's only so much capacity. That's where, unfortunately, that bandwidth is being taken, right?
True.
I'm a lot like that. I had to learn the hard way also because I've gone through my life the same way, just trying to focus on like, what can I do? How can I be, help people more? How can I make more of an impact? And then when you find that people try to take you down and they want to like take your shine, they want to ruin you, they want to pull something from you and take it from you because they think it's going to maybe apply to themselves. That never happens. And what I had to learn is that no matter how much I try to please somebody or remove my shine to try to make someone feel better, they're just going to continue to be that way and I'm just going to get worse. Is that the hard lesson that you had to learn?
Absolutely. Now you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I used to try to compensate and try to make them shine a little more.
Right.
Try to make them feel, the gratitude, which I still do on that part of it. But now,
without taking yourself.
Without taking myself,
Yeah.
I don't do that now. I don't do that. Absolutely. I know what I do. I don't even let people compare themselves to me anymore.
Yeah.
I used to be like, oh, I do this. I said, no, you don't.
You're
Trust
on
me.
full shine mode.
Like you do not, you do not even 1% of what I do. I
Yeah.
know what I do every day. I've had everybody say, Chef, I can't do it. You can't do 18 plus hours a day going here, there, doing this, flying all these different countries, all these different places, handling all your emails, thousands of them, talking to people, talking to kids, talking to women, men who have mental health, talking about they're going to do X, Y, and Z, or you don't understand that because people, they want it until they get it.
Right.
And then when they get it, they're like, okay, this is not it. I can't do this. I can't pretend this much.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's hard because I'm not a pretender.
Yeah.
People reach out in my DMs, whatever. People like, Chef, is that you actually answering all those questions or that? I'm like, it's absolutely me. I have to. I tried for a day to let somebody talk for me on one of my social medias. And I looked, I said, who the hell is, what are you talking about?
Right.
No, absolutely not. I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
Like, well, Chef, I'm like, come on. I was like, if you're a smart person, you have to study a subject.
Right.
You have to mimic who we are because we're part of who they are. And I'm a representation of you, like you'll be of me. And that's how the energy has to be put out.
Right, right. Well, for all the people that see what you have going on, they see your, how your posts go viral, everything that you share, you're skilled at ice sculpting, which I recently discovered. I can't believe how amazing you are at that. It's pretty nuts. Your cooking, your style, the way that you do everything. It's people look at that and they go, "Oh, I want to do that. It looks so glamorous." But like you said, come walk a day in my shoes. Like, see how you can't do it, and it's not the glamorous stuff that people see on the outside. See, that takes the hours and months and days and all the preparation that it takes to just squeeze out those 15 seconds of what people see.
It's true. I said that when I first started doing this, and even with, in the military, White House or whatever, people get a little jealous. People are emotional. And I had to have a conversation. I had to have a conversation. I said, here's the deal. I can give you everything in my bank. I can give you my platform, every subscriber, everything, whatever, and have you try to mimic and do what I do, and you will fail horribly. Horribly, you would.
You can do it.
It's not simple. It's not said. You first off, you just think the fame and the glory comes from it because you got so many people saying, "Oh my God, I want to take pictures. I want to do this."
Right.
It's not that. And if you ever notice, people don't just come up to me and say, "I want to take a picture." They say, "Thank you for your service. Thank you for what you're doing."
Yes.
It's a big difference. That's what I feed off of. That's what I need because I know what I'm doing and it's giving back.
Yeah.
I
do. Okay, so that leads me to ask about your necklace because you were telling me a little bit about that.
So this is my very first one. It's called a challenge coin.
A challenge coin.
It has deep history in the military. It was done back in the wars when, units or they would recognize each other. This is who we are, right? President has them. Each president has them. They gives them out. It kind of got diluted because nowadays challenge coins are given by the higher authority,
right?
And they kind of just give them to the higher authority or someone who on a medal recipient or whatnot and so forth. This one was the first one I did about my mom, and it says, "Never give up, keep going. You can do anything." And it's like a couple of nips on it, inspire the world. Which the globe, inspire the world. This one right here is a muscle, which is not mine. It's the women because they're the strongest of us. Over here is a hat and knives where it's like chef, but it's like, doesn't matter what your job is. You can be impactful. And my favorite, which down here is a little circle saying anti-bullying for kids. And so it was funny because the way they do challenge coins, I've got all the president's challenge coins, and when you do something extra, they'll reach out. I'm gonna shake your hand.
Yes.
The other hand.
Okay.
And you'll do like this and say thank you for your service and everything you do.
Yeah. That's so cool. I love it.
That's the last one I've done, and basically just says
go, never give up, keep going, kids first.
And look at the front part.
Inspire the world, mental health. Every day is day one. Yes. It's you against you. You wake up, you won.
People don't think, they take it for granted. Open your eyes. That's for you.
This is for me?
Yes. That's why I gave it to you.
What? No way.
Exactly.
I'm going to cry. Seriously?
Seriously.
This means so much to me.
Yeah,
seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean that. You're doing the exact same thing I'm doing, and I appreciate you.
My hand is like shaking.
Immensely. Thank you for everything you're doing and putting the words out with everyone you have on. So it's important. And I know how hard you're working and how persistent you are. So
you do.
So it means everything. I am honored and happy to be here.
This means so much to me. You don't even know. I'm going to cry. I really am.
Well, you did do that one push-up.
I did. I sort of finished it.
Sort of.
I was so hell-bent on finishing that damn push-up. I mean, it made me think. I'll tell you that. I will say this. I can do a lot of push-ups, but it didn't matter that day.
It didn't matter that day.
Okay. So, this whole project, this is, the most incredible, influential people making their mark. You are, absolutely, one of the most incredible people I've ever met.
Thank you.
And that's why I've been so persistent. That's why I wanted you here. And you, looking back at your life, you said if you I mean, heaven forbid, if anything happened to you tomorrow, you would feel totally satisfied. What mark have you left?
My marks, wow, to go and to be able to speak all over the world, you know, like I say for the Cancer Society, speaking for them, for my brother who passed away, speaking for my daughter who, and her brothers, you know, from the White House to the Chamber of Congress, going on all the news medias, having the mental capacity, speaking out for the military, and just having, I don't know how many, countless of thousands of people in my inbox saying thank you. And
Yeah.
just the whole footprint of just going everywhere. There's not a country I've ever been to that someone doesn't come and say anything to me.
Yeah.
Whether I'm in Thailand or Korea or Japan or, you know, Colombia or Germany, anywhere I go,
Yeah.
everybody comes up and says the same thing. So it's important that, you know, you look at it, and when I say same thing, they don't say, oh, you're a celebrity, or, oh, it is. They say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep doing what you're doing.
I know that means a lot to you.
It means more than a lot. You know, going in Compton, you know, I did a video with the guys who, like I said, didn't have a big following, and, you know, 20 million views later, and everybody said, oh my God, I love what you did in Compton. I love the parts that you went in and helped the families and just showed that love and positivity to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm content.
They were talking about the views. They were talking about what you did.
They were talking about what I did.
Well, you know what? You are a true gift, and we're all better for it. We're all better for you being here, and, you know, the way that you make everybody feel, the way that you make everybody feel so special. You make me feel special.
You are.
Well, you make me feel special. So thank you so, so much.
Thank you.